Welcome to, I guess it's the Thursday prayer gathering this week. I try to make it once a week. So try for Wednesday, but not always. So it's nice. I was thinking about it and I realized there are people who can make Thursdays and not Wednesdays. And there's people who could make it in the morning, or rather late morning, and not necessarily time changes, time zones. So it's good. I shouldn't feel bad that I couldn't do 3 p.m. yesterday. So we take a moment here. In many ways, mantra practice, and to a certain extent, any practice is an exploration. We're exploring new teachings, new methods, and we learn to investigate and explore them, to see the differences, to connect with them. And along the way, we come to discover ourselves in deeper ways. Our bodies, our nature, our energies, our relationship to God or the universe, whatever we wish to call it. And in our personalities, who are we really? What creates us? What forms us? How we've changed, where we would like to go, where we've been. It's a beautiful, beautiful journey. And everything is included in the journey. And nothing is sort of left behind. All of us, all of what we are moves forward and is part of the practice. And so as we work on the various names, we investigate how to engage with them, especially if you're relatively new. Because you're still connecting in, you're still working with your body to be able to feel these energies. But after a while, your body is already sort of connected, so to speak, to the flow. And the different names almost right away open up to what they are and their particular energies. And we work on new names and where we feel called. At the beginning, when people start, I encourage people to pick one name that they feel particularly called to, that feels good when they do it. It feels like, oh my God, this feels like home. I wish I knew this a long time ago. Wow, this is so there. And that's the name you kind of start with, the home base, or you stay with it for your whole life. No need to investigate further if you feel that's what it is and you're making good progress and you feel it's really there for you. But also, some people investigate to different names, come to an understanding how one name is good for a certain set of emotions or circumstances or feelings or something you're going through, both internally or externally, and how another name works really well for those circumstances. And it also sometimes comes a point or a period where every practice, it's open to a different name, and you don't know exactly kind of how you feel or which you want to engage with. And the right name comes up, and then you might shift in your practice after a couple minutes or 5-10 minutes to another name. It sort of unlocks after an energy or level of practice is done first with one name, and suddenly another name, which wasn't so much available when you began, would suddenly you start uttering it. For my own practice right now, I find myself skipping through many names for different practices. Not so much in the same practice, different names, but for one day it might be this, and maybe 4 hours later it's another name. When one begins, be very careful about jumping around too much, because you have to deepen in a name to really connect. But after a while, when you've got a couple under your belt, you have that possibility. You realize what unites them all. And you realize that they work with different frequencies in your body and your minds, connect to you to different ways, or where you feel you need to sort of clear or connect with, or where you're at. And you start to develop an intuitive sense of that. And hence the adventure, hence the wonder, hence the deepening of understanding. Or you never do that. It's very much open. In the end, you become your own meditation instructor, your own prayer instructor. As you develop the skills and the guidance and the knowledge, and at this point I have over 120 teachings, and other teachings you've encountered, and books you've read, and your own thoughts on things, you develop a depth of knowledge. And it's for you, or each of us individually, to see how to apply it, how to manage one's path, where you want to put more effort or less, whether you want to go into retreat, whether you want to take an afternoon retreat, or you need to. And that day happens to be, on a Saturday, and you make the time for it, and you feel that alignment, like, like for me, it wasn't going to work out. I was going to teach. So I'm like, but what can work out is for me to take time and deepen. And I investigated a name that I've never really worked on. And it felt really right. And I don't feel quite ready on presenting it today, because I want to deepen in the name myself, grow in my understanding. A lot of what it was came to me, but really come to understand, come to live the breath and the energy of the name a little bit. And that's all what we're doing. Shekhinah Shalom. So beautiful. Shekhinah energies everywhere, but it's a higher energy. The Shekhinah Shalom. You're really touching into something that's transcendent, yet everywhere. And the Shalom grounds it into you. Other names do different things. For me, the Shekhinah Shalom is just all in the crown chakra and third eye area, where I've been doing a lot of work. But then I worked on the name yesterday, which was very physical, very, very healing. And it surprised me. And then I just spontaneously started saying it, and I'm like, whoa. And I realized a couple years ago, I spoke about that name, and I said it's very healing and very grounding, but I'm not called to it. And then I remembered I said that. I'm like, oh, I had the very same impression on the name and where it helps that I had a couple years ago. And that gives one confidence in what one feels and what one senses. And so as you practice, you start noticing things like that. Oh, this lined up exactly how I felt about it 7 months ago. I wasn't thinking about that. Oh, I might have been really correct, because you see the same thing from a fresh perspective again. Oh, you know what? This lines up to what a friend's been feeling about this. Oh, HP said this about that. Or I feel something completely different, but each time I do it, that's what I feel. And then for you, the name takes on certain characteristics. So this is very much an exploration. And we're going to be continuing this exploration. We're doing that winter intensive, which is now in the spring, which is going to continue into the summer. So, but I remember what I said in November when we started. I feel this year is going to be really much about mantras, reciting the name. And boy, has it. And that's really a lot of the path. Also, I mentioned working with the body. And I think we have done some work with the body, but there's all sorts of things I wanted to introduce that I didn't yet. So that'll come in the spring. And of course, the chakra teachings, which I've been putting off for 1.5 years. I promise you they will come. I don't know why. But why I haven't taught it. But sometimes it's important to have the feeling of it, especially since it's so foreign to the Western culture. By then, you'll have a sense of it. And so when I show you the architecture of it, it doesn't feel like so out there. We come to understand our bodies and its energies and its little pathways and super highways. And we say, oh, that's how it works. Oh, this is why it's like this. And we become a little bit like a mechanic in our car. And our car is our body. We start rummaging around the hood. We ask people who understand the car, and they point things out, and we ask our questions, and we see how it works. And when we see how it works, we know how to best engage with it, how to work with it. You have a problem with your car, you don't know anything about it. How do you even begin to do anything? You don't even know what to do. But if you know the car, you're like, oh, a little of this. Oh, this. Oh, I need to do a little of this. Oh, how about a little of this? Oh, I need to deepen here. Oh, I got to watch this. And it's all on top of your mind. And anybody else might be like, whoa, how do you know all this? But it's years of progressive study. You understand nutrition, your diet, exercise, the nature of the flow of your energy, the nature of your mind. You have some understanding of the Sephirotes, some understanding of the chakras, kundalini, understanding of sitting meditation, understanding of mantra meditation, understanding of an open, clear view meditation, understanding of your mind and your thoughts, and maybe a different understanding of who you are, that you're not your thoughts or your mind. And that's not theoretical or conceptual, or it doesn't feel out there because you've actually experienced that. And so you're positioned a little different in your life. You start being the person that's in the seat of their car, and you understand how your car works. You're not traumatized when you find yourself back in your Pinto. You're like, oh, it's the Pinto. Oh, I know how to deal with this Pinto. I thought I traded it in a long time ago, but it's still here. Oh, well. Oh, what does the Pinto need? That needs a little fixing here. And then pop, you're back in that Ferrari. And then next thing you know, you're in the Starship. And you've forgotten everything about cars and highways and everything else. And you're in a whole other world of being, of living, of experiencing. And yet you're still here. Growth, understanding, and practice. And so we'll do a little practice together. I've kind of like what I've said just now, so I might repeat it on Sunday, the beginning part. So I hope that'll be okay with you all. And so why don't we continue with our friend Shekhinah Shalom? The Shekhinah grounded in the Shalom, here, grounded in our world, in our presence, in our bodies. We ground the qualities of God in us, like multivitamins and vitamins and wisdom, compassion, healing, elevating ourselves to higher frequencies, releasing what is not that. Anything that's not those things, just simply drift and float away. Sometimes you could feel heat radiate from you, or you feel like things are lifting or moving away, and suddenly you feel a relaxation and you feel like something kind of left. All that density. Anything that's not Shekhinah Shalom is invited to move out. The relaxing, the breath, the openness, the letting go. The permission to be open and allow, come what may, as you say the name, that unconditional trust in the name and the frequency and the blessing that comes into you. And the curiosity and the trust to see what journey it brings you for that session. It's not boring. It's wonderful. And everything that's not of the Shekhinah, of the Shalom, of the perfect energy of God can't quite stay there. The environment becomes inhospitable. The environment is not good for that. We're changing our frequency, and therefore things that are denser, trauma, pain, bad character traits, anger, violence, whatever, doesn't quite have a nice little house that it likes anymore. It's a spring cleaning, it's a dusting, it's an opening of the windows. Somebody once described meditation, you open the doors, you open the windows, you even lift the roof off the top of your house and allow the whole thing to ventilate. So we're allowing everything we are to ventilate with the Shekhinah of Adonai, with the Shekhinah of Hashem, with the Shekhinah of Elohim, Emmanuel, Yahweh, Yahweh of Abba. The Shekhinah is invited to inhabit in a deeper way in us. Shekhinah lives in us. Shekhinah lives in everything on this planet. Everything. Even waste. Even radioactive waste. Even little droppings everywhere. The Shekhinah is in everything. And we are inviting it to inhabit us in deeper ways, to touch base with it, to allow it to rise forth in us, that it becomes perceptible, that we can see it, that we can feel it, that the Shekhinah can start being our car, our intelligence, the intelligence of our car, and we become guided as we learn to live in fellowship and really in partnership with it. We learn to partner with the Shekhinah. We learn to partner with God. We're not alone. We have a wonderful companion on our passenger seat. We have God. It's many manifestations that come from one, and the beautiful energy that he has on this planet, which we call the Shekhinah. So let's take a moment. If you have prayer beads, get them out, and we'll begin.